This is a truly inspirational story of a good human and an honorable man named Larry Stewart, who became the legendary Secret Santa who spent many years handing out hundreds of $100 bills to random strangers across the U.S. Sadly, Larry passed away from cancer in 2007, but his story and efforts live on to this day. The legend of Secret Santa can actually be traced back to a single act of kindness in Houston, Mississippi in 1971. A homeless man had wandered into town and he was starving. After living in his car and not eating for 2 days, he went into a Dixie diner and ordered a breakfast without knowing how he'd pay for it. When he finished eating, he started looking around on the floor pretending that he'd lost his wallet. The cook even came out from behind the counter to help him look. Then, suddenly, the search was over. "You must have dropped this," the cook said. He was holding a $20 bill. The homeless man was so grateful that he made a vow to himself. As soon as he was able, he'd do something for others, like what the cook had done for him. That homeless man was Larry Stewart. Over time, he became financially stable, and he set out to keep his vow. Although he wasn't well off by any means, he knew he couldn't put off getting started. One evening, he stopped at a drive-in restaurant and noticed the waitress was wearing a tattered coat that couldn't have been keeping her warm. When he handed her the money to pay for his food, he knew that was the moment. "Keep the change," he said. Tears welled up in the waitress's eyes and her hands shook as she held the money. "You have no idea what this means to me," she said, with her voice shaking. But Larry did have an idea of what that meant to her. Afterward, he was so inspired by what had just happened that he started driving around looking for people who needed help. They weren't hard to find, and he gave away $200 in 5s and 10s. The more successful Larry became, the more money he gave away. By the time he'd earned considerable wealth in cable and phone services in Kansas City, Missouri, he was anonymously giving away substantial amounts as Secret Santa. He consulted with local social workers, firefighters, and police officers to find needy and deserving recipients. He also found some of them on his own at laundromats, social service agencies, government housing facilities, and businesses that paid minimum wage. At thrift stores, he often found people who were raising their grandchildren. When he would give them anywhere between $100 and $300, it would change the whole complexion of their Christmas as well as their outlook. For many of them, this money made it possible for them to buy presents and cover necessities like utility bills. Larry didn't want people to have to beg or get in line to apply for money. "I was giving in a way that allowed them to keep their dignity," he said in an interview with a local news station years later, just like the cook at the Dixie diner had done for him. Larry was Secret Santa for over 20 years and gave away more than $1.4 million during that time. There are many stories from people whose homes he saved, people who told their families that there wasn't going to be a Christmas, but would end up being able to buy gifts because of the money Secret Santa gave them, people who were able to pay their bills and get their gas turned back on, thanks to Larry. When Larry died in 2007, his handpicked successor, an anonymous Kansas City businessman, took over for him and continues to lead the Society of Secret Santas to this day. Larry's motto, which he passed down, was simple: "The compassion shared from one spontaneous random act of kindness is elevating, priceless, and not easily explained. It is an instant connection between two souls that can change a life forever." Being a Secret Santa is a blessing beyond words. It's not about the man, it's not about the money, it's about the message, says a Secret Santa. Anyone can be a Secret Santa with a kind word, a gesture, or a helping hand. And what impact that gesture may have is anybody's guess. You never know what that one little act of kindness will do for somebody. It can change their whole life. It changed mine. Larry told Ted Horn, the chef and the owner of the Dixie Diner, when he tracked him down 28 years later after their first meeting to give him an envelope containing $10,000. Larry's story is a reminder for all of us to remember that kindness is free and its impact is immeasurable. It only takes one moment to make a difference that could last a lifetime. This is Nina Infinity with your daily dose of infinite hope.